Hey guys, welcome back to Paracord Planet. Today we're going to be making this macrame necklace pendant. Women's jewelry is something that I kind of steered away from in the past since it's not a topic that I know a lot about, but after seeing some inspiration from one of our followers on Instagram, I decided to give it a try. We'll put a link to her Instagram and her Etsy store down in the description. All this uses is 20 feet of 95 paracord and a simple macrame hoop. Let's dive in. I've got my 20 feet of 95 paracord pre-cut into 8 sections, and they're each 2.5 feet long. With my demo, I started with 2 feet and ran out of cord on one of the ends, so going a little bit longer this time around, and that should be plenty. We'll start out by folding each of those in half, so make sure the ends are pretty even, and then just cow hitching them or using a lark's head knot, attach them to our 2-inch ring. We want to make sure those are all facing the same direction, so we'll get to work adding all those on. Once those are all attached, I like to slide them over the weld mark on the ring just to keep that out of sight. And then tighten them all down good, but if they don't stay that way at this point, that's fine, since we'll be tying some knots right underneath them. So I'm going to start on this left side, and I'll set this finished one in here for comparison. We're basically using half hitches to make these ridged lines. It's a pretty common macrame technique, and we do that by taking the end cord and bringing it over the top of all the rest. And we're going to be half hitching those cords onto that one. So I'm going to call this my runner. I'm not a macrame person, so that might not be the right term for it, but that's what I'm calling it. And then this other one is going to be our tying cord. So to start out, we have this cord crossing over. So now this cord is on the left. And we're going to bring it over the top and then down through that loop. Like that. And now that we have this row started, our running cord is angled the right direction. We never want that one to bend. We want that one to stay straight through the whole pattern until we get to, the end of that section. So now we'll tie one more half hitch on, doing the same thing. Cross it over, underneath and up through. And cinch that down right underneath your lark's head knot. And we're just going to kind of use the shape of the ring to our advantage, where we have this straight stripe coming off of the arc of the loop, so that it's higher on the sides and comes to a point down in the middle. So now moving on to the next set of strings, we're going to keep that same runner cord. It's important to keep track of that one. This cord is underneath, over on the left side here. So we're going to bring it over the top to the right, and then down back through that loop, down over to the left again. That's going to sit right next to the half hitches from our previous cord. And before moving on to that one, we need to remember to do the second one. Forgot that a few times on my last one. And then when I get to this point and I'm tightening down that second knot from any given cord, I like to pull that first knot nice and tight first before cinching that second one down. So now that we have those first 2 cords attached, we can keep going down the line. And we're just going to go until we're halfway. So I divided it up into 4 and 4 pairs. We can keep this line going until we get to the middle, and then the pattern is going to change. So there's our first row done. We've got one stripe here. Bringing in the full pattern, you can see that that stripe ends right here, and it's going to be overtaken by this side. So for now, we're just going to make this chunk over here. We kind of cover up this with our fingers. Think of it as kind of a scale, and then we'll work on this one after that one's completed. So now we'll do 2 more rows, just stopping at this point. This one is going to be our next runner on the far left, and then we'll bring in the next cord after that as the next runner. So now comes the fun part where we kind of get to see our pattern develop. We're going to start from the other side and do the same thing, but these that were our runner cords are just going to become our weaving cords. So this one here on the far right is going to go all the way across and have each of these cords tied onto it. So when we're done with our tying cords, we're going to use those runners as our next tie cords. And once we're done with that, it'll bring us down to here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows going that direction. Each one's going to be a little bit shorter than the last. Once we get there, we'll stop and start from the other side. And there we go, we finished up these 6 rows right here. We're gonna add 3 more on this side, and then that's gonna have our point and right in the middle. You can keep going if you want with that same pattern, but for this necklace, I'm just gonna end it there. I liked the length that provided. So starting back from the left side now, bringing that far left cord over as our running cord. And we'll do 3 of those. And there we are, we've got our 3 rows done on that side. And now this point ends right in the middle. Like I said, we could keep going, fill that out, do another one on this side, kind of keep that pattern going. I did do a test on a smaller keychain, and this is kind of what that pattern looks like if you keep it going longer. But I'm gonna finish it up here, so I'm just gonna make sure all of my knots are tight. On these ones, I just pull each cord tight, and on these couple ends where we have a runner coming out the end, just want to stack those knots together a little bit harder, and then we can clip the ends and melt them down. Since this is a piece of clothing essentially and it's going to be worn, I don't want any sharp edges on the bottom, so I don't flatten out the ends of the cord. I just kind of let them be rounded right where they are. So you want to clip it pretty close to the knot itself and then just melt it down so that it stays secure. So there we are, the finished pendant. If you want to, you can put this on a necklace. We've got a video on some different knots that you can use to attach the cord to the ring. So we'll link that in the end screen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I realize that the audience of Paracord Planet is a lot more men than women, and this is more of a women's jewelry project, but guys, if you want your girl to support your hobby, make her something nice. We'll put links to the supplies used in the description, so that's the 95 cord and this macrame ring. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.